What's up, everybody, and welcome back to TarHeelIllustrated.com, or, of course, if you are watching on our fast-growing YouTube channel, that is Tar Heel Illustrated. I'm THI staff writer Jacob Turner, and joining me, you know the face, you know the name, our very own publisher, Andrew Jones. And AJ, here for yet another episode of our UNC football ISO series. I should say off-season in there because we do this throughout the off-season. If you guys haven't seen the videos we've been doing on individual Carolina players, head on over to Tar Heel Illustrated, our YouTube channel. You can find the link below, obviously, and you'll see a playlist with our UNC football ISO series. We've done a ton of players so far. Going to continue to roll a few more out during the off-season. So go check the rest of those videos out after this one is done. And real quickly, guys, for just $8.33 a month, you can be a Carolina insider too at TarHeelIllustrated.com. Link to our website is in the description below. The threads have been on fire this offseason. AJ's been all over the kind of ACC expansion realignment rumors that have been going around. He's been all over that. David's been all over the GG Jackson situation on our Four Corners message boards as well. So if you want to get a little more insider information on what goes on behind the scenes, rumors, whatever's going on that we hear, you have to be a Carolina insider too, and you can do that by signing up just $8.33 a month on our website. Again, link is in the description below to head on over there. And AJ, an episode here that I'm excited about, talking about Noah Taylor, graduate transfer for the Tar Heels, who transferred in from Virginia. I think he's a guy that a lot of Carolina fans are intrigued about, excited about, and looking forward to seeing what he can do. So, AJ, when you think Noah Taylor and you think what he could bring to this Carolina football team based on his experience, which we'll talk about here in a little bit, what are your thoughts on the addition of Noah Taylor at that defensive line position for the Tar Heels?
What I think is actually interesting is that he came in while Jay Bateman was still a defensive coordinator, and he came in to play the hybrid spot, which is now defunct because Bateman's not there, and they realized that it wasn't working.
It wasn't working, yeah.
I know because a lot of people have said a lot of things, and we'd be disingenuous if we said that there had been a little bit of shade thrown on 6'6" guys covering running backs out of the backfield. That has been brought up by people in the program publicly, so it's okay to say that. Taylor, I think, would have been a little bit more of a natural fit for hybrid, but he's also a real natural fit for the jack position, which is at kind of maybe what the hybrid was. It's an outside linebacker. It's someone who could put a hand on the ground and do things and also cover. He's more athletic than what Carolina had in the hybrid spots before. He's built more for that kind of role. So I would say in the modern day college football, he is a quintessential outside linebacker, which is what a jack kind of is, but has the ability to do a variety of things. Really good athlete, kid who came in because he wants to get to the NFL. He wanted to see something different. He could have gotten the NFL from UVA, but Bronco Mendenhall left. He's like, you know what? Now, and he loved Bronco, loved UVA, didn't like Carolina when he was at UVA. He's open about that.
Sure, he's not the only one, right?
But he wanted to see something different. And I really appreciate his honesty about things because he did speak openly about what the Virginia guys thought of North Carolina when he was there. And he was one of those guys, and he thought it too. They said they're too talented. Boy, they get all these, he said 5 stars. They don't get many of them, but all these 4 and 5 stars are always the most talented team. They never live up to it. That was the impression that he articulated, came from the UVA side, but he still wanted to be a part of that. There's that lure that Carolina still has, and, with the facilities and the brand and the bling and just the place, and also Mac Brown. And the fact that they're still sending guys to the NFL, and he wanted to experience something different. He wanted to play for a Hall of Famer. He wanted to be in that environment. And once he gets to Chapel Hill, a few weeks later, they have the ugly showing in the bowl game because he committed about 2 weeks before the bowl game. And a change is made, and here comes Gene Chizik. And he's playing for Gene Chizik. And he is so thrilled. He's so excited to be there. The jack position was almost created for a guy like Noah Taylor. When the Lord created him, he said that down in 2022, there's this thing called the jack position in football that's gonna arrive at the North Carolina football program, and you're gonna fit right into that slot, Noah Taylor. He's the perfect fit for that. And then on top of that, he's got all these other intangibles that he brings that this team needs The program needs it. The team needs it. That room needs it. That position group needs it. The defense needs it. So I think he's going to be a real positive contributor to the football team this year. If they have a really good year, if he's healthy, he'll be a big reason why they have a really good year and why this defense makes tremendous improvement from last year.
Agreed. 6'5", 235. I think at that size, that's exactly what you want at that jack position. And you're also looking at the experience he brings. And this is what I think is the biggest positive for him coming into Carolina, where he can be the most beneficial. Because to me, there's a difference between experience and, bear with me for a second, experience. There's guys that have been around a program like Virginia, for instance, here with Noah Taylor for 4 years that, maybe they kind of learned their trade for the first year or two. And, then they kind of started maybe a handful of games their junior year. And then the senior year, they started every game and kind of exploded and had a really big year. When you look at Noah Taylor, he's a guy that ever since he arrived on campus in 2018 has played, appeared in 9 of UVA's 13 games in 2018, appeared in all 14 of UVA's games as a sophomore, started in 10 of those. Looking at his junior year, started 9 of UVA's 10 games. And then as a senior last year, started all 12 games for the Cavaliers. So also finished third on the team in tackles. So that to me is the definition of an experienced ACC football player. Now coming into a new program, expectations might be a little bit higher. Coming in, you're going to play under a guy like Gene Chizik, Matt Brown, 2 Hall of Famers. So I think when you look at what Noah Taylor brings to that jack position, to this defense as a whole, you can't stress enough how important that experience is. And I think that's exactly what you're getting in Noah Taylor at that jack position.
And they need that on defense.
Yeah, big time.
They need more guys that can talk. Last year, communication was a disaster on defense. And it wasn't a disaster because Jeremiah Gilmore wasn't good. Jeremiah was phenomenal at it. He just had to do too much of it, way too much of it. And he was so uber focused on what the other 10 guys were doing. It wasn't a distrust in the other 10 guys. It was just the communication was there was so much of it, and there was so much variety to it that it confused guys. And he wanted to make sure they were on the same page. But Cedric Gray will not have that role, and he won't have to do as much of it because they're not going to have as many variations to the communication, not as many things that they're dealing with. It's going to be a lot more football one-on-one. But Noah's another one of those guys. So you have a guy like Cedric in the middle of the defense communicating, and then a guy like Noah communicating, and not just in the pre-snap stuff, but Noah's the kind of guy that could communicate on the bench, communicate in the locker room, communicate on the bus, in the hotel the night before a game. There's something about him, I think, will help bring this defense together even more, because he is a fanny slapper. He's a communicator. He's a, get your head out of your rear kind of guy, but he's also, man, that was phenomenal kind of guy. There's a lot of elements to him that when I've talked to some people who covered him at UVA and were around him at the program at UVA, said they absolutely adored those intangibles that he brought there. Their defense wasn't very good either because they were doing a lot of 3-3-5 type stuff, and it really wasn't working. But Carolina's not going to be doing any crazy stuff defensively. It's going to be far more base football 101, like I said, and it's going to allow his skills to really come out. And it's funny when you were reading his size and 6'5", I'm thinking, well, they had this say, what did Cedric Gray say? 6'6" guys shouldn't be guarding running backs.
Guarding a wide receiver,
yeah. But the thing about Noah Taylor is he's 6'5", but he plays in that 6'1", 6'2" range if he has to. Like, he's agile. He doesn't look out of place at 6'5", like some other guys might. Some other guys who maybe are much better off with a hand on the ground. Mm-hmm. Noah's a guy that looks the part, can handle the part. He's bouncy. He's wiry, he's rangy, and 6'5" is an attribute when you could play at the 6'2" type of agility, if that makes any sense. Yeah. Especially at that type of position. So I'm looking forward to seeing him play. I remember watching UVA. He was always an intriguing guy in defense. He caught your eye because not everybody there did. They've always had good DBs and stuff, but I liked watching him there. I think he fits in perfectly with what Carolina wants to do this year. Adds some of that maturity to the defense, which is suddenly getting older now, not just with the addition of him, but when you think about the corners that are older, the safeties that are older, that defensive front's getting older now. There's still a lot of young guys there, but they all got a little bit of experience under their belt other than Shaw. I like the way this defense shapes up, the potential that it has, especially after covering Gene Chizik's first time there, the way he revamped a 2014 defense that was more horrific than last year's was and had less guys. But they also didn't add a part like Noah Taylor. He just had to deal with what he inherited. They got a part like Noah Taylor to come in that just adds another level to this defense. And I think he's going to be a standout this year. I really think he's going to have a terrific year. They're only going to be in Chapel Hill one season. I think Carolina fans that are passionate about football are really going to enjoy watching Noah Taylor.
Athleticism, size, experience. I think Noah Taylor, checks all those boxes for the Tar Heels. And I think he's a big time pickup for them when you look at those intangibles that he brings. Good place to wrap this one up, AJ. I've been Jacob Turner. He's been Andrew Jones for the Noah Taylor edition of our off-season UNC football ISO series. Again, guys, go watch the other videos that we've done by going to our YouTube channel and clicking on that playlist tab. You'll see it right there. And once again, head on over to TarHeelIllustrated.com. Just $8.33 a month. Price has not changed since 2014, and our boards are absolutely on fire right now with everything going on, football and basketball too. There's just so much stuff going on. If you want to see that, if you want to be a Carolina insider too, click the link below, sign up, and come join our awesome family at TarHeelIllustrated.com. Like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell as well, so every single time we do upload a lot. And we'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks.
Thanks.